Have you ever felt trapped by the weight of other people's opinions? Have you ever let a single criticism ruin your entire day? Or found yourself drowning in the negativity that surrounds you, feeling powerless against the judgments and expectations of the world? Imagine, just for a moment, living in a state of complete freedom, a world where the words, actions, and negativity of others no longer have control over your emotions or your sense of self. A world where you stand like a mountain, unwavering, regardless of the storms that pass around you. This is not some distant fantasy. It is a reality that is within your reach. The path to this unshakable peace is not about shutting yourself off from the world, nor is it about pretending that negativity does not exist. Instead, it is about cultivating a mindset so strong, so deeply rooted in wisdom and understanding, that nothing external can disturb your inner stillness. It is about learning how to navigate life's challenges with grace, wisdom, and resilience, where no insult, no rejection, and no hardship can shake the core of who you are. Buddhism has long taught the secrets to achieving this level of inner mastery. The Buddha, who lived over 2,500 years ago, understood that true freedom is not found in controlling the outside world, but in mastering the mind. His teachings are not abstract philosophies meant for monks alone. They are practical, timeless truths that anyone, anywhere, can apply to transform their lives. In today's video, we will uncover 8 powerful Buddhist lessons that will help you develop an unshakable mind, lessons that will enable you to move through life with wisdom, peace, and strength. These principles are not just about avoiding suffering, they are about thriving, about living in a way where you are no longer a prisoner to emotions like anger, fear, and insecurity. They are about reclaiming your power and learning how to truly live, not just exist. But before we dive into these lessons, ask yourself: 1. How often do you let other people's words dictate your happiness? 2. How much time have you wasted dwelling on the negativity of others? 3. How many opportunities have you missed because you fear judgment? The answers to these questions may reveal just how much external influences have shaped your inner world. But the good news is, you can change this. You can break free. And by the end of this journey, you will have the tools to do just that. Each lesson we explore today will offer a transformative perspective, from learning how to let go of hate, to discovering the power of humility, to realizing that the only control others have over your life is the control you allow them to have. We will dive deep into the wisdom of the Buddha, blending ancient teachings with modern insights and real-life examples. And as you absorb these lessons, you will begin to see the world, and yourself, in a completely new light. So, I invite you to stay until the very end, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you approach life forever. Lesson 1. Do not hate those who hate you. Hate is a weight that burdens the soul. It drags us down, consumes our energy, and distracts us from what truly matters. Yet, it's one of the easiest emotions to fall into. When someone insults us, treats us unfairly, or actively works against us, the natural reaction is to strike back, to let anger and resentment take over. But here's the truth: carrying hatred does not hurt the person who harmed us, it only poisons our own peace. Buddhism teaches that hatred does not cease by more hatred. It's like trying to put out a fire by throwing gasoline on it. Hate only breeds more hate, trapping us in an endless cycle of suffering. The Buddha's wisdom offers a radically different approach: respond with love and understanding, not because the other person deserves it, but because you deserve peace. Those who lash out in anger, those who spread negativity, are often lost in their own inner turmoil. Their pain manifests as aggression, their insecurity turns into cruelty. Understanding this truth doesn't mean we tolerate mistreatment, but it allows us to see beyond surface-level actions and recognize the suffering that fuels them. A Zen master once faced relentless insults from a young man who sought to provoke him. Day after day, the master remained still, never reacting. Finally, the frustrated student demanded an explanation. The master smiled and said, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" Hate works the same way. When you refuse to accept the negativity of others, it remains with them. It does not need to become part of you. Think of hate as a heavy chain wrapped around your body. The more you engage with it, the tighter it holds you. But the moment you choose to release it, you become free. Carrying resentment does not punish those who wronged you, it only prolongs your suffering. The energy you invest in anger could instead be used to cultivate love, wisdom, and a life of true serenity. Rising above hatred is not an act of weakness, it is the ultimate strength. It allows you to live unbothered, untethered, and truly at peace. Lesson 2. Practice humility. In today's world, success is often measured by visibility: who speaks the loudest, who is recognized the most, who appears to have all the answers. Social media bombards us with people flaunting their accomplishments, and society tells us that we must constantly prove our worth. But the deepest wisdom lies not in how much we talk, but in how we live, how we listen, and how we treat others. True humility is not about making yourself small. It is not self-deprecation or denying your abilities. Rather, it is the recognition that we are all students in this vast, infinite universe. No matter how much we think we know, there is always more to learn. The Buddha once said, "A man is not called wise because he talks and talks again, but if he is peaceful, loving, and fearless, then he is truly wise." Wisdom is not found in grand speeches or boasting, it is found in stillness, in deep understanding, and in a heart that seeks to learn. Consider the story of a powerful CEO who attended a Buddhist retreat. He was a man of immense success, known for his intelligence and leadership. Yet, instead of asserting his knowledge, he chose to sit quietly, listening to the monks. These monks owned nothing, had no financial wealth, yet they possessed a peace he had never known. As he observed them, he realized that his achievements meant little if they did not bring him inner contentment. Humility is the key to growth. Arrogance builds walls, but humility opens doors. It allows us to truly hear others, to expand our understanding, and to see the world with fresh eyes. A humble person does not need to prove their worth because they are secure in their being. They do not seek validation through external praise, because they find fulfillment within themselves. When we cultivate humility, we step into a life of true wisdom. We become more present, more aware, and more open to the lessons that life constantly offers. We stop seeing others as competitors and instead recognize them as fellow travelers on the journey of life. And in this mindset, we find a deep and unshakable peace. Lesson 3. Do not let others control your life. Picture yourself walking through a vast, beautiful forest. The path ahead is yours to take, filled with infinite possibilities. Along the way, people call out to you, some give advice, some cast judgment, some tell you that you are going the wrong way. These voices can be overwhelming, and if you listen to them too much, you may find yourself walking a path that is not truly yours. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us, do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. Your life belongs to you. No one else has lived your experiences, no one else understands your dreams the way you do. If you constantly seek approval from others, you will never truly be free. There's a story of a musician who was born into a family of doctors. His parents insisted that he follow the same path, dismissing his love for music as a foolish dream. For years, he obeyed, earning a prestigious degree and working in a field that felt empty to him. Though he was successful by societal standards, his soul felt trapped. It was only when he found the courage to pursue music that he discovered true fulfillment. Every time you let someone else's expectations dictate your choices, you move further away from your true self. It is important to listen to advice with an open heart, but ultimately, you must trust your own wisdom. No one else can walk your path for you. The world is full of noise, opinions, judgments, expectations, but you do not have to be controlled by them. The key to peace is to tune out the distractions and walk forward with confidence. Stay true to yourself. Honor your journey. Trust your intuition. The more you do, the more unshakable your peace becomes. Lesson 4. Listen twice as much as you speak. In a world that glorifies speaking, listening is an underrated superpower. We rush to share our thoughts, to make our opinions heard, to respond rather than to understand. But true wisdom comes not from talking, but from listening, deeply, attentively, and with an open heart. The Buddha taught, to understand everything is to forgive everything. True understanding is only possible when we listen, not just to words, but to the emotions, the silences, and the deeper truths behind them. Imagine a young monk in a remote monastery. He is instructed by his master to spend an entire year simply listening, to nature, to the wind, to the stillness between breaths. At first, it seems like a meaningless exercise. But as time passes, he begins to hear things he never noticed before, the subtle shifts in energy, the depth of human emotions, the unspoken struggles of others. Through listening, he develops profound wisdom. When we listen more, we understand more. And with understanding comes compassion. Too often, misunderstandings arise because people do not truly hear each other. Instead of engaging in real conversations, we wait for our turn to speak. We assume instead of asking. We react instead of pausing to reflect. By practicing deep listening, we cultivate stronger relationships, greater empathy, and a mind that is grounded in awareness. Listening is not passivity, it is the foundation of insight, connection, and inner peace. The less we speak and the more we observe, the more we begin to see the world as it truly is. And in this silence, we find the wisdom that words alone can never provide. Lesson 5. Accept the worst in life. Fear is a constant companion for many people. It whispers doubts in the back of our minds, creates anxiety about the future, and convinces us that disaster is always waiting around the corner. What if I lose my job? What if my loved ones leave me? What if everything I've built comes crashing down? This fear of uncertainty is what keeps us trapped in a cycle of worry and suffering. But what if, instead of resisting hardship, we accepted it as an inevitable part of life? The Buddha taught that suffering is not caused by life's difficulties themselves, but by our attachment to how we believe things should be. We expect stability, comfort, and security, and when life inevitably disrupts these illusions, we experience suffering. However, if we shift our mindset and accept impermanence as a fundamental truth, we free ourselves from unnecessary fear. Suffering exists, but it is not our enemy, it is a teacher. Pain is unavoidable, but how we respond to it determines whether we will be consumed by suffering or transformed by it. Consider the story of a businessman who lost everything overnight. One day, he was at the top of his industry, the next, financial ruin left him with nothing. He could have let despair take over. He could have cursed fate, blamed others, or clung to the past. Instead, he made a different choice. He accepted reality as it was, not as he wished it to be. Instead of resisting, he adapted. Over time, he rebuilt his life, but this time, he carried a deeper understanding of what truly mattered. He was no longer attached to wealth as his source of happiness. Through loss, he gained wisdom. When we prepare ourselves for the worst, we don't become pessimistic, we become resilient. We stop clinging to illusions of permanence and start embracing reality. No matter how much we try to control life, uncertainty is inevitable. By accepting this, we move through life with greater peace, knowing that we can handle whatever comes. Lesson 6. Beware of the dangers of fortune. Success, wealth, and status, these are the things many people spend their entire lives chasing. We believe that if we can just earn more money, buy more things, or reach a certain level of recognition, we will finally be happy. But time and time again, we see that external success does not guarantee inner fulfillment. Some of the wealthiest, most successful individuals are also the most miserable. Why? Because true wealth does not come from possessions, it comes from contentment. The Buddha said, "Health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth." No amount of money can buy peace of mind. No level of achievement can fill an internal void. When we attach our happiness to external things, money, power, reputation, we place our well-being in something fragile and impermanent. Fortune can disappear in an instant. If our happiness is dependent on it, then our peace is just as fleeting. Consider the story of a billionaire who spent his entire life accumulating wealth. He built empires, controlled industries, and had more money than he could ever spend. But in his final days, as he lay on his deathbed, he realized that he had spent a lifetime chasing numbers on a screen instead of moments of real joy. He had missed out on love, on laughter, on the simple pleasures of being present. His fortune had given him power, but it had not given him peace. This does not mean that wealth is inherently bad. Money can provide comfort, opportunities, and security. But when we make it the center of our existence, we lose sight of what truly matters. The richest person in the world is not the one who has the most, it is the one who needs the least. When we learn to be content with what we have, we are free. We no longer chase happiness because we realize it was never something to be found, it was something to cultivate within ourselves all along. Lesson 7. See failure as a stepping stone. Failure is often seen as something to be feared, avoided, or hidden. Many people let their fear of failure paralyze them, preventing them from taking risks or stepping outside their comfort zones. But the reality is that failure is not an ending, it is a beginning. Every great success story is built on a foundation of failures. Every wise person has faced setbacks, disappointments, and obstacles. The difference between those who grow and those who remain stuck is simple. Those who grow see failure as a lesson, not a defeat. The Buddha taught, each morning, we are born again. What we do today matters most. This reminds us that no matter how many times we fall, we always have the opportunity to rise again. Failure is not a reflection of our worth, it is a natural part of progress. The only true failure is refusing to learn from our mistakes. Think about a world-class athlete who has faced countless rejections, losses, and injuries. Every setback could have been a reason to quit, but instead, they used each failure as fuel to improve. Every loss taught them something new. Every rejection strengthened their resilience. And in the end, those failures were not obstacles, they were stepping stones that led them to greatness. The same applies to all of us. Whether it's a failed relationship, a lost job, or a missed opportunity, each setback is a chance to grow. When we stop fearing failure, we start embracing life with more courage. We take risks, we try new things, and we trust that even if things don't go as planned, we will find our way forward. Every day is a new beginning, and every failure brings us one step closer to success. Lesson 8. Always remember that death is waiting. Most people avoid thinking about death. It is an uncomfortable, even terrifying topic. But in Buddhism, reflection on death is not meant to cause fear, it is meant to awaken us to life. When we remember that our time is limited, we stop wasting it on trivial things. We stop holding grudges, chasing meaningless goals, and postponing our happiness for someday. Instead, we start living fully, right here, right now. The Buddha encouraged people to meditate on the impermanence of life, not to create anxiety, but to inspire urgency. When we truly understand that life is fragile, we become more mindful of how we spend our days. We cherish our loved ones. We speak words of kindness. We pursue what truly matters instead of getting lost in distractions. A man diagnosed with a terminal illness experienced this firsthand. For years, he had been focused on work, constantly telling himself that one day he would slow down and enjoy life. But when he was given a limited time to live, everything changed. Suddenly, trivial worries no longer mattered. He started spending more time with his family, appreciating simple moments, and letting go of things that once seemed important but ultimately weren't. In facing death, he finally learned how to live. We do not need a diagnosis to remind us of life's impermanence. Every breath we take is a reminder that time is passing. Every moment is an opportunity to live with purpose, to love fully, and to embrace the present. When we keep death in mind, we do not become morbid, we become awake. We start prioritizing what truly matters. We let go of things that drain our energy and focus on what brings us joy, meaning, and fulfillment. So ask yourself, if you knew you had only 1 year left, how would you live? What would you stop worrying about? Who would you forgive? What dreams would you finally pursue? The truth is, we do not know how much time we have. But what we do know is that each day is a gift. And when we live with this awareness, we begin to make choices that align with our deepest truths. Because in the end, it is not death that we should fear, it is reaching the end of our lives and realizing that we never truly lived. As we come to the end of this journey, take a moment to reflect on what you've just learned. The wisdom of the Buddha is not meant to be admired from a distance, it is meant to be lived. These 8 principles are more than just teachings, they are a way of life. They are a call to reclaim your peace, to step into your power, and to free yourself from the invisible chains that have kept you bound for so long. Think back to the very beginning of this video. Do you remember the world I asked you to imagine? A world where negativity and criticism no longer affect you? Where hate has no place in your heart? Where you live with clarity, confidence, and an unshakable sense of peace? That world is not some distant dream. It is possible, and it begins with the choices you make right now. Because here's the truth, no one else has the power to disturb your peace, unless you give it to them. No one else has the authority to dictate your worth, unless you allow them to. You are not here to live according to the expectations of others. You are here to walk your path, to cultivate wisdom, to grow in strength, and to embody the highest version of yourself. But knowledge alone is not enough. The real transformation happens in application. So, as you step away from this video and back into your daily life, ask yourself, 1. How will I begin practicing these lessons today? 2. Which habits or mindsets do I need to let go of? 3. How can I show up as my most peaceful, most powerful self in every situation? Life will continue to challenge you. There will be moments when anger, doubt, or fear try to creep back in. But when those moments come, remember these lessons. Remember that you have the power to choose peace over conflict, wisdom over impulsivity, and love over hatred. If today's journey has resonated with you, if you've found value in these teachings, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe to Buddha's Odyssey. Let's continue exploring the path of enlightenment together. The journey to inner peace is not walked alone, so let's build a community of wisdom seekers, truth seekers, and those who are ready to step into the highest version of themselves. Until next time, walk your path with confidence, with serenity, and with the unshakable knowing that nothing, absolutely nothing, can disturb the peace of a mind rooted in wisdom.